Dana.
Live?
Yes. We're back. We have completed our hiatus. Dana has completed her triumphant run on the stage as one of the stars of Anne of Green Gables.
It was awesome. I was awesome, but also it was awesome.
That's it. That's all you. that.
Well, if you want my opinion, and I'm sure you don't.
That's a line from the show.
It's not recognizing that. Is it not? Hang on.
Okay.
The it's on the wrong camera, and it doesn't realize that it's on the wrong camera. Why is it on the wrong camera? Don't that. Ooh, wait! I got an idea. Ooh. Hang on.
You're gonna unplug it and plug it back in.
Maybe. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Nothing
you.
Has changed.
How long has it been since you restarted your computer? I'm not saying you should do it now. We're in this now. We're just going to have to live with it, but...
Not this. And from there to there. That's plugged in. Why is this came? I don't know. My computer's acting kind of funky tonight, and I'm just going to go with it because you can see me, so that's good enough.
Yes. And, you know, maybe from now on, we don't start working on these issues with 5 minutes before showtime if you think it's going to be a problem.
Like because the mounted camera is like right there, and then the screen camera is right there. So I thought the mounted camera was working because it's plugged in, and then I was like,
okay.
I moved the screen camera and nothing happened. Or the mounted camera, nothing happened. So I didn't I thought they're right there. It looks right.
Sure, of course.
It's not.
Well, we can see you, so that's fine.
There, it's just good. So
yeah,
maybe tomorrow when I get, because after this, I'm going to bed. Maybe tomorrow when I get home from school.
Well, I'm not. Yeah.
We are having school tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, it's been confirmed. So did you want to tell people about, first of all, let me just tell everybody, we are watching Deep Space Nine. We are watching Dr. Bashir, I presume. So if you have not queued up that episode yet, go ahead and queue it up and have it paused at 0 and ready to go for when we start watching the episode. But now that I have gotten that out of the way for our pre-show chit-chat, you had a little unscheduled experience. Catastrophe? Well, I don't know if we could use, I mean, it wasn't catastrophic, but yes, there was a plumbing related mishap at school today for you, right?
So yeah. So air conditioning, there's condensation. So there's a drain. Well, the drain by the air conditioner for my classroom backed up.
Whoops. And
water began seeping into my classroom on the floor. More and more and more. Call the office or page the office through the overhead because we don't have phones in the room. Or no, because we don't have working phones in the room. We've had phones since August. They're not hooked up to anything. That's another issue. So after I think, I waited 5 minutes, called him again, waited 2 minutes more, and then I called him again. I said, this is Miss Cole in room 1006. Again, my room is flooded. Instead of saying, I have a leak in my room, I said, my room is flooded.
Yeah, you got to get their attention. Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, the janitors actually came by. They had a shop vac. Unfortunately, the water was coming in faster than the shop vac could suck it up. So this happened near the end of one class, which was right before, we had last lunch. So they went to lunch. They're trying to clean it up. So fortunately, we really only had to deal with it for about 10 minutes. And then it was lunchtime, had time to clean it up. And by the time, 10 minutes into lunch, they're like, yeah, this ain't working. So my last class had to go to another classroom. So we got situated someplace else. It was okay. Well, I found out later that it continued, that was not, my air conditioner was not the source of the problem. That's just, my classroom, I think, is the lowest one in the school. So last year when we got a really heavy rain, it flooded, but not from the drain. Oh no, it came up through the floor. That was fun. And I mean fun in a way that's not actually fun. So the drain was apparently further backed up than that. and they had to evacuate the entire wing because it was sewer water. After that part of the pipe vented, it, connected to something else, and that came in. So yeah, nasty. So anyway, I'm glad I was out of my classroom early, so it actually worked out, I guess, in my favor.
And but so you're having school tomorrow, so it's been taken care of, or
It's been the funsies. The source of there was a clog in the drain, in like the wastewater drain, like toilet water drain, because lots of someone's flushed vapes down the toilet.
Oh my God, these fucking kids.
I mean, it's entirely possible that it wasn't kids, but I'm just saying, considering the situation, I think that's a good guess.
If it was teachers, then your school needs to seriously re-examine its hiring standards.
Well, I mean, I hear there's a teaching shortage. I wonder why. So so they have the clog has been taken care of. That's how they know it's vapes. And they have a professional cleaning service coming in to like disinfect everything.
Right. Well, that's good.
So we can have school tomorrow. Oh, because the system was so backed up that we had literally one working student bathroom. All the other student bathrooms had been affected by the backup and had to be closed. So there was one bathroom with, I guess, maybe 4 stalls for girls and 4 stalls for guys. So one set for about 1,200 students.
Damn.
So, but
at least it happened like in the second half of the day. It was, well, I guess if it had happened in the morning, you probably would have had to just call it a day. I mean, you can't run a high school with one working bathroom for a 1,200 person student body. That's ridiculous.
Anyway, so yeah, that's been taken care of, and the bathrooms will be usable. I think that's the big concern. But apparently tomorrow I will be moved to other classrooms, so I'm not entirely sure where I'll be. I have most of the stuff that I need, and eventually, hopefully on Friday, I'll be able to go back in, because that's where my earbuds are. I got just about everything else that I needed out of the room. Earbuds are still there. Whoops. Oh well. But they were over near so I would have had to go through the water to get them. And I didn't, because I was like, it'll be cleaned up later. Well, I mean, it will, but
just a little later than you thought. Yeah.
So by accident, and I don't know.
Classic,
I think I almost prefer the prank, the Simpson prank, because vaping, nicotine is not good for you. Nicotine is very, very, very bad.
Yeah. Whereas a cherry bomb is just harmless fun.
Well, yeah, but the idea with the cherry bomb is you're not deliberately breathing it in. It just makes a big noise.
You as soon as you light it, you got to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, I mean, I guess they did that.
Oh, the aroma of the cherry bomb.
As soon as they lit it, they got rid of it. They got rid of it.
They did. Who flushes a vape? I mean,
and who doesn't want to get suspended?
But I mean,
or let's be honest, taken to jail, because you're not supposed to have tobacco products on school property. That's state law.
So are we thinking like this clog accumulated over time, that it wasn't just a bunch of kids who flushed their vapes at once? It was a vape got flushed, and then a few weeks later another vape got flushed, and then and eventually it just kind of like they all got stuck in the same
same they all went around the same narrow area and got stuck there, and they piled up. And here's why I don't think it's all at once, because if it was a coordinated effort to like do that, they would have used something other than vapes that's more easily replaceable, something, just rocks or something,
Sure. Andrew, I agree. Kids should not be sent.
I honestly think they would be sent to jail. But when a parent says, you that's against the law. Honestly, I have students who, bless their hearts, are convinced that plagiarism is a crime, and if they're caught, they'll go to jail.
I mean, you could work that to your advantage as an English teacher. You know, let them go on believing that. See,
No, because then they also think that they won't get caught.
But I do agree with Andrew. No kid should be sent to jail for a nonviolent offense. If you want to send a kid to jail, you should provoke the kid to violence. I think that should be a requirement.
Plus, it's fun
to provoke a kid to violence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so much. It's amazing to me that teachers don't do it more often.
Well, that's why you have theater, because one of the things I learned is that, man, I could be so mean as you know, when I'm off at theater, man, I would just, I don't know, it kind of like happened with the Ensign vlog. Like the stuff we say when we're not on the show is like so much worse. Like it's
oh shit, yes, we are so mean to each other. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I'm looking for, we have, for those of you who haven't listened to the Ensign's log for the last couple of episodes, we have a new cast member who is going to be with us regularly. I don't want to speak and say that she'll be in every single episode from now on, but she's going to be a regular member of the cast, Ananda. And she has not, like, she's still new. So, and Dana, you haven't worked with her yet because you were, you know,
on hiatus.
You were trotting the boards. But yeah,
board,
she's still,
honestly, it's a very small stage. It just has
she's just one board and everybody has to kind of, you know, stand next to each other on it. But, so she's still new and Jason and I are still being nice to her. So, I mean, Jason and I are just as mean to each other as we always are, but we're not comfortable enough with her yet to be like super, super mean to her yet. So I'll know when the ensemble has gelled, I'll know when we're all comfortable just being breathtakingly vicious.
As one does.
That's how you know you found a true friend.
So yeah, it has been a really interesting day.
It sure sounds that way. My day has not been as interesting, but I am now 1 day away from finishing all of my Get Out the Vote postcards that I have been working on since August. I think they got here in August and I started on them right away. So, and I will be finishing 2 weeks early. My mail date, I'm supposed to mail these postcards on October 24th. I will finish them. I probably won't finish them tomorrow because tomorrow I'm going to be working on my Star Trek review that I do every Thursday. But Friday, I think I will do my last page of addresses for the postcards, and then I'll be done.
Are you feeling good about what you did, Steve?
I'm feeling good about doing it, and I'm feeling really good about not having to do it anymore. There was a stretch in the middle where, I mean, even it's not like to anybody who's thinking about doing it, you should do it, right? Like it's definitely it's a good way to get involved, and it's way less stressful and anxiety inducing than like phone banking or door knocking. But it does, I think, make a difference, you know, and it has been shown that it can encourage people to vote. But yeah, I mean, part of it is like, I volunteered to write 1,000 postcards, and I had months in order to do it, and I did it at a steady pace. So I didn't find myself with like 2 weeks to go and half of them yet to do, you know what I mean? Like I paced it out nicely enough so that it was never, you know, I never felt like it was, yeah, you know, and I do it. The way I've been doing it is I do a page of addresses a day, which usually takes a little more than an hour, depending on, you know, how fast I'm writing or whatever. But usually takes a little more than an hour to do a page of addresses for me. So it's an hour a day. So it's not like physically that demanding, but there was a period toward the middle of it when there's like a stack of finished postcards over here, but then there's like a box of blank ones over here. And it's like, oh, I have so many more of these to do. And and it's like the emotion takes over. Like, I know logically, if I just do this for an hour every day, between now, like I'm going to get done in plenty of time. Like I
Mhm.
know intellectually I'm in good shape. All I got to do is just keep doing it at the same pace I've been doing it, and I'm going to get it done in plenty of time. Everything's fine. But emotionally, you're sitting there at the table writing your your 20th postcard of the day, and you're just like, this is
This is
taking
never gonna end.
forever. So but yeah. Well, Caitlin says your ability to schedule and pace yourself amazes me. I'll tell you, I will tell you this. About halfway through, when I started to sort of get kind of, I started to feel like I was a little over it. I was like, why did I say I was going to do this, and why did I say I wanted 1,000 of them? And you know what I mean? Like you start
Why,
questioning.
God?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Like Wayne.
I.
Yeah, don't you just wish you could do that and then be done with the postcards?
Oh, let's do the happy ending. Let's do the postcards are done ending.
Yeah. We
But
can do
anyway,
that next week.
I started doing because for about the first half, I just went right down the list, from beginning to end, and they're on the addresses are given to you like in random order. But I would just start at the top of the page and I would work my way systematically down. And then about halfway through, that started to get so boring that I couldn't stand it. So I invented little games for myself to play where because even though most of the postcards I wrote were for my home congressional district, I guess so the numbers come out even or something, or just to give you a little variety. Like they throw in every once in a while, they'll throw in an address from somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So the first thing I would do is go down the entire page, and I would do all of the ones from out of state first.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then if there were any for people here in Hagerstown, I would do those. And then if there were any for one of the other handful of towns that I've lived in my life, I would do one of those. I would do those. And then I would start going down and do the ones where there were multiples, So like if there were six
Everybody from this
addresses,
town.
yeah, it's like if there were, and I would do it in order of how many there were. So like if there were 6 addresses from Germantown, I do all of those. And then, there's 4 addresses from Frederick. I'll do all of those, so I would like bunch it around. So I'm not
Yeah.
just going from
So
the top
now
to the
I only
bottom.
have 4 to do, and the next group is going to be
Yeah.
smaller. Yeah.
It tricks my brain and makes it seem like there aren't as many of them as there are, because I'm doing them in chunks instead of, okay, that's 1. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's 2, So I did have to kind of invent little games to play to keep focused, but yeah, I'm very glad to almost be done.
I bet. I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, like I'm happy to impress you, but like I said, it's not, if you start early enough and you do it regularly, it's not,
super difficult.
It's not super difficult, even though sometimes it feels like a slog when you're in the middle of it.
Well.
255 AD, I heard about it. Geek told me about it yesterday. I don't know what he's going to tell me. Like it has nothing to do with me. If someone on someone else's chat timed you, what do you want me to do about it? Like,
cry about it, Steve.
Like I wasn't there. I don't know what the issue was. Geek didn't seem mad about it. He just let me know. He just informed me because we all know each other. But I mean, it's not like, what does he expect me to do about it? I hope nothing, because that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything about it.
Apparently.
I guess.
You talk
I love
a lot,
that.
Though, we're used to that.
I'm going to tell Steve. Okay. And?
So yeah.
Oasis has a member message here. Says, I got a new mattress yesterday. Had my first good sleep in years. You never know how much a bed contributes to quality sleep until you get a new one. Cheers, Steve. All love, Dana. It does make a difference.
Having
a nice bed to sleep on makes a difference.
That's not completely true, because you also never know how much a bed contributes to quality sleep until you don't have one. Like you have to sleep on the floor, then it's like, oh gosh, this sucks. I want to go back to bed.
Exactly. Stegelin says hello from Severn/Glenburnie. Oh, hey, that's not super far away. Glad you could make it. Welcome. Azalea, I'm going to tell Steve Dana was talking during this. Yeah, exactly.
That's me.
Dana wasn't paying attention to the episode. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She never pays attention to the episode. What am I supposed to do?
Par for the course.
I'm 1,000 miles away. What am I supposed to do? I can't.
I mean, you could just like end the Zoom call and watch the episode without me.
just be as petty as possible. If you're not going to watch the episode, then what's the point?
I am watching the episode. I'm just not paying attention. It's there. I can see it.
You're okay. I want to make this point, and then we can watch the episode, or I can watch the episode, and you can continue to hang out. More accurate.
I'll just I don't know, count hairs in the wig that I got back from after the show closed.
I know that this is just, this is just a live stream, and neither one of us are making any money on this, and this isn't like a professional thing. This isn't either. I mean, it's technically part of my job, but it's more like a fun part of my job. I don't, the ad revenue on the live streams isn't exactly paying the bills. But even so, even with all that being said, your lack of professionalism is still kind of astonishing to me. Like your willingness and even enthusiasm at just half-assing stuff. Not because obviously you don't half-ass. There are things in your life, obviously you're not like a half-ass kind of person. But for this, and not only that, the number of times you have volunteered to come on Late Seating with me and Jason to talk about a movie you have not seen.
I think that would be fun. I think that would be
like that's just complete. I'm like, what? Like that's unthinkable to me. And you're just like, what you want me to? You want me to sit in with you? Have you seen the movie? Nope. Well, then no.
Absolutely hilarious. But and part of it's. I mean, it goes against your professional values, but not mine. First of all, this is not a profession for me. But second of all,
yeah, I get it.
It's a live stream. It's a live stream. Like there's people here. There's, so that I see that as more important than the episode. The episode's done. That's been out for decades.
But you haven't seen it.
This is the conversation that goes on between us and with the chat. That is what is unique. If somebody wants to watch they can't even watch it here. So arguably, if somebody is watching the stream, if I'm like talking to people in the chat, there's more going on the stream than if we're just sitting here quietly watching the episode. Okay, I'm just saying.
Fair enough. You know what? You just Adam from Mythbustered me right there, because I remember one of my favorite arguments between Adam and Jamie on Mythbusters was when they were fighting about something and they were both being really testy, and Adam said something like, because Jamie was up Adam's ass because he was doing all this stuff that wasn't working, right? That Jamie thought Adam was going in like the wrong direction as far as proving or disproving the myth. And Adam said, yeah, well, I'm the reason why we have an episode, because I'm the one who's been doing filmable content while you're just standing around, griping about stuff. And yeah, you're kind of like, well, at least I'm saying shit during the live stream. So yeah.
Listen, I don't think it would work by myself. I think it would work much more effectively especially if I don't know. I haven't talked much about movies with Jason. But I think we could have a really interesting conversation if you could manage not to just quit the damn Zoom.
I think maybe like if we were doing it as a comedy bit and you were doing like you were doing like a play on like the kid who didn't read the book but has to give a book report, like that's a funny idea potentially. Yeah. But I mean, to be a guest on a podcast devoted to reviewing movies that we watched and you haven't seen the movie.
If it was because since we do sometimes watch movies together and then talk about them, if we did like a before and after, like of one that you had seen and I hadn't, like we talked about it beforehand, and then watched the movie and then included the discussion
Well,
afterwards, that could work as well, because then
that's
it's a
yeah.
precursor to, like, it's not just instead of seeing the movie, but like as a precursor to it, because we include some of that as well sometimes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Um, oh, David Corrigan says about my Star Trek video that I put up today, about your Strange New Worlds plot pitches. Some of those actually sound entertaining. Um, I mean, I think they're entertaining as jokes. I don't know if I'd necessarily actually want to see any of those episodes. But then again, my whole thing about Strange New Worlds is I have faith in the show, and even though the show does things that ordinarily I would not want to see a show do, when it does them, it does a good enough job that it gets away with it for me, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been my idea to have Scotty in this fucking thing, but if he's going to be good, I guess, you know. So it kind of, you know, yeah. And Philip Kehoe, yeah, FAQ is a good title for a Q episode, and a couple of those, the joke title was like shaped the bit. FAQ was one, and Fortune Nookie was another, where I came up with the title, and I was like, okay, what's the premise for this? Because I just wanted to use the joke title. So, okay, shall we watch the episode?
Let's go for it. All right, so what we're going to do is, hopefully by this point, I mean, we're almost half an hour in, hopefully you've had plenty of time
Indeed.
to set up this episode. So you need to be at like all the zeros, 0000, and have the little play thing ready. And then Steve's going to count us in 3, 2, 1, play. And when Steve says play, we all click play and start at the same time. If you get a little off, or it gives you the loading screen or something happens, or if you have to restart your computer or device or whatever, just look up here where there's the time code, and then you can kind of synchronize up with us. If it's not exact, whoop-de-doo, because we're not singing along, and I've never seen it before, so I can't even like quote lines like I would.
You
do
can't sing
annoyingly
along
with a movie that I really like. So
all
you're
right.
spared that. Thank your stars.
Elisette, it is season 5, episode 16. Our man, or not our man, Bashir. Dr. Bashir, I presume.
Oh, wait, yeah, that was the one that it's not.
That was the James Bond one is our man Bashir. This is Dr. Bashir, I presume. And Caitlin, I think actually Trill We Meet Again was one where I got the premise first. Or I might have gotten a version of the premise, and then I got the idea for the title, and I kind of adjusted it so that it would fit. That might have been one of those, because a couple of them are like that. All right, here we go. I'll count us in. Everybody push play when I say play, and we'll watch Dr. Bashir, I presume. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play. It's one of my favorite ROM moments in the entire series.
And you're not an engine.
Ah. Physiologically.
Oh, you have brains. You're just ugly. Wait, no, that doesn't work either.
You should give it a try sometime.
See how it goes, like most men.
Indeed. Bum bum bum. Voyager crossover, kind of. So I want to mention something I saw earlier in the chat. 255 AD said, "What's the point of subplots?" Well, uh, pacing. It can help fill out an episode if the main story isn't robust enough to get an entire hour out of. It gives you a chance to cut away to something else to sort of allow for the structure of the main story to fall a little more naturally.
That's what I was
And on a
thinking.
yeah, go
That
ahead.
it because I thought you were going that direction. You cut away, especially when you start. The tension in the scene starts rising. Now you're going over here to this, so it leaves you wondering what's going on there, and that's sort of percolating in the back of your brain while you're looking at this other thing, and then you go back to
Yeah,
this.
it can be. Yeah, exactly. It can be used for tension. It can be used for, you know, like a little miniature cliffhanger within the episode. Um, and also on a show like Deep Space Nine with a lot of characters, it allows us the opportunity to spend time with characters other than the ones that are directly involved in the main story. And you can do like, and Deep Space Nine is really good at this, character arcs that carry through from episode to episode. A lot of those are pushed through via subplots, So, yeah, they're extremely useful. Yeah, David, I kind of mentioned, I was getting to that earlier. Yeah, it can, you can pad the episode with it. Yeah. And yeah, Liz, right, exactly. If sometimes the multiple plot threads will sort of converge at some point, and if that's done right, then it can be really satisfying. We'll also use this scan as the basis for your action figure. Oh, look at Morn getting him some.
So she's not taken. Okay.
I hope she has a thing for bald assholes.
Well, I mean, she's had a thing for assholes, so.
Yeah.
I noticed that he didn't say yes.
Yeah, he said, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Note, state intentions out loud so audience knows what to expect.
Sparkly. David, exactly. That's why stories about the good people, we call them the good people. And we're very careful about what we say about or around them. Especially bad.
Yeah. 255 AD. Remember, Worf did spray acid in Beverly's face that one time. So, I mean, it's not like he loved her on the Enterprise. Oh no, I've lost her to the guy from China Beach. HB Haggai, I'm pretty sure this is before, but I could be wrong. Azalea, when did he do what? You mean China Beach? That was early 90s, I think. That was before he did any of the Star Trek stuff. Oh, or you mean spraying the acid? That was Genesis in TNG. Welcome, Slaughterama.
Uh-oh.
South Asian Charlie Chaplin is your dad? That's so cool. I don't hate Lower Decks. It's just not my cup of tea. If I watch a comedy, I expect it to make me laugh. Lower Decks almost never does. So, yeah, Caitlin's on the right track. Listen to Caitlin will explain why I don't like Lower Decks.
How do you not have the right?
A semen delivery. David C. Drake. That's a joke I would have written. And this is crazy.
And you're creepy too.
Some women think I'm pushy. I'm not pushy, though, am I?
No, you don't.
I'll expect an answer tomorrow. Sounds sexy. Ah, family. Hi, Ed. I think Rom's going to blow this.
Doesn't look like he has something he wants to say.
Just add that despite what the authorities would like us to believe, genetic engineering is nothing to be ashamed of. You're not any less human than anyone else. In fact, you're really more.
We didn't come here to start another fight. Just trying to get through this.
Well, Kirok, we're only about halfway through if you want to catch up.
I figure y'all have seen it before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of you.
What a twist!
Dun dun dun. Da 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 da. Man, he chewing good.
And yeah, Liz mentioned the shot where Julian is starting his explanation. Yeah, and the great thing about, not only is it a really well composed shot with Julian in the foreground and Miles, you know, out of focus in the background, but they hold the shot. There's no camera move. They don't try to dress it up or try to do anything fancy to keep your attention. They let Alexander Siddig's performance anchor it, and it works really well. That and death.
Is Quark a female?
I forgot about that. I love that. Vulcan Love Slave 2. The Revenge. Oh, what a great joke.
Maybe he can start a riot. Guess your genetic enhancement didn't do that much after all.
The end. So, thoughts?
Somebody mentioned the the last line. I really thought we were going to end on that bit about the Kama Sutra. It's like, oh,
The Kama Sutra. Yeah.
That was a stronger ending line, I think.
Well, yeah, but that ends it on Zimmerman.
And yes, it's a Bashir and I understand why not to. So
yeah.
It was good. Julian, the scene chewing, very well done. Just
yeah, it's over the top, but it's really good. I mean, I think
he does a good job with it.
Yeah,
and it's fun. Yeah. You can also see the actor is enjoying getting to do this.
Oh yeah. Well, and the other thing is those scenes, especially the big scene with him and his parents, where they kind of have it out, is such a well-written scene. I mean, yeah, the acting is Star Trek acting, it's a little theatrical and over the top, but I mean, it's such a well-written scene. And like, I've seen this episode a bunch of times. I think it's my favorite Bashir episode, even though I really love our man Bashir, the James Bond episode. I feel like I like this one better. Um, and like there's so much specificity in the characters because like I I come down on Julian's side of it, like I take his side, and I feel like he's right to be resentful of his parents and to feel rejected by his parents in a way because like his original self wasn't good enough for them. Like I totally get why he feels that way, but
Oh,
like his parents' motivations are understandable.
oh
Like
yeah.
even if you come down on the side of, well, they shouldn't have done what they did, their motivations are understandable. And even though his father comes across as a little bit of a dick, you get why he did it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, now that you're bringing it up, I had not thought that was the issue between them. The issue is his dad doesn't fucking listen to him. He doesn't,
well, yeah,
his
but
dad,
I mean,
his dad is a jerk to him. His dad doesn't, doesn't really seem to care about him as a person. Yeah, you can kind of understand why they did what they did, but he's just his dad
but
isn't.
it's but it's the same issue. Like
Yeah,
from
the
Julian's
reason that his dad was
perspective,
willing to do that was because
yeah,
he saw him as a status symbol. And so yeah,
yeah,
I can understand, you can totally understand, but the fact that that wasn't enough, and Julian essentially considered, I mean, it's the equivalent of being arm candy if you're the girlfriend.
yeah, yeah,
It's he's just, he gets to the point that he's old enough to do something about it, and he does. He just
yeah,
leaves.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was
But
interesting.
I love it's clear that Julian isn't very close or happy about like either of his parents, but it's also clear that he favors his mom. Like of the two of them, he's closer to her than he is to his dad. Like there's not the hostility between the two of them that there is between him and his dad. So it's like there's so much, like the characterization is so rich, and and these are one episode characters. Like we never see his parents again. Like everything
Mhm.
we get about them, we get in this episode. And they're both, especially the dad, they're both such terrifically drawn characters. In that scene where they're having that argument is such a great goddamn scene.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and the scene where Julian is explaining it to O'Brien is great too.
Yep.
And I noticed, since Liz mentioned that camera shot, which I agree is a really nicely done shot. There's another really good shot right at the end, where it's like a pan shot, an overhead shot that starts with Lita at the Dabo table to show that like she's still at Quark's and she's happy because she stayed because of Rom. And then it sort of swoops across and a Klingon guy like runs up the stairs, and then it zeroes in on the dartboard and you see the dart fly in, and that's how we get from that to
Yeah.
the last scene of Julian and Miles playing darts. And that's a really nice shot. Um, I've never really liked
Nerd.
I've never really liked the camera move around the Admiral. I've always felt like that was superfluous. There's that when the
Yeah.
Admiral is
There's no reason
explaining,
for it to be there.
yeah, it doesn't really add anything. And it's almost the opposite of what I like about the shot that Liz pointed out, where I mean, the camera stays on Julian and it's carried by Alexander Siddig's performance. And they trust that, okay, we don't need to do anything else. Like we've
Yeah.
got a nicely framed shot. We've got a good actor. He knows his lines. Let's just let him do it.
Mhm.
And with the Admiral's speech, it's the opposite. It's like, well, I mean, I know it's a lot of exposition. It's not as moving of a speech. It's not as important dialogue as Julian stuff, but still, the guy doing it's not a bad actor, but
Mhm.
they're like, whoop, let's move the camera around in case people get bored with, the history of genetic engineering. And it just feels like it's a little too much for me, but, yeah, it's a really good episode.
It's like it shows their insecurity about that scene.
I guess, or they felt like,
Well,
it just
that
needed,
the writing and the acting wasn't enough to carry it, because there's no real action going on. It is
No.
expository dialogue, and they don't think that character can pull, or that actor with that writing can pull it off.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, it is pure exposition. So in a sense, I get it. but I still feel like the camera move is a little too much. 255 AD said something earlier. Lore Runner has a fan theory about this episode that Julian's mother just wanted the learning disability corrected, but his father pushed for all the extras once she got him on board. The way he put it is, the dad said, if we're going to do this, we go all out. Do you like that read of the
Once
episode?
she got him on board, like it was initially her idea.
Like the mom wanted to correct the learning disability because she felt for her son, and then the dad was like, well, let's just get the full package. Yeah.
So the theory is that his dad originally didn't want it, and then the mom got the dad on board. And dad was like, well,
I don't know.
You know, since we're paying for the procedure, let's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think that really adds anything to the episode. I don't think that reading improves the episode.
I mean, it's not contradicted by it, but there's nothing to suggest it as a better reading than, you know, they both wanted it for different reasons.
It fits, but I don't see what it. Yeah, it's superfluous. It sounds like, and a lot of fan theories are like that. It's someone who is just grafting something of their own onto the episode to show everybody how clever they are, or to throw the episode into a different light, even though it's based on stuff that isn't actually suggested in the episode itself. I mean, it's like, it fits, but I don't really care for it. Yeah, David C. Drake. Wait, Steve, we never see his parents again? That means we need a modern Trek episode focused on them. Yeah, exactly. And of course, you know, Richard would have to be like a famous architect now, because the rule is when you come back to legacy characters, even if it's like 30 years later, they have to be doing something that was suggested that they might be doing the last time we saw them.
Maybe he's a legendary botanist.
But yeah. Kirak says, the one thing I will point out about this episode, to me, it felt like in some way they lead up to this episode. I don't see this as last minute writing. Well, you're wrong. As far as I know, the idea of Bashir being genetically engineered was conceived for this episode. I guess maybe it's possible if they knew this episode was coming, like if they had this idea, like when they broke the season and they decided, okay, what episode is this? Episode 15 or something. You know, they could have dropped a little hint, but I really don't think so. As far as I know, the concept of Julian being genetically engineered was conceived for this episode, and there aren't like hints or setups that lead to this in earlier episodes. So if you do see those kinds of things, that would be you after the fact interpreting things in light of knowing that this is what eventually happens.
Yeah. Yeah, Caitlin pretty much says what you said, that you can read this into certain things on there.
Yeah.
255 AD, you say that his mother just wanted to help him. His mother wanted to do something that she thought would be helpful for him. We don't get any indication at all that as a child he was unhappy, you know, because they talk about he kept falling farther and farther behind. I'm like, according to whom?
Right.
Was he noticing and expressing, you know, upset about noticing that his peers could do things, or, you know, were his peers being mean to him, calling him a dummy, didn't want to play with him because, you know, whoever got him on their team was going to lose. That can be hard for a kid. But she doesn't say that. So
no. And
from what comes across as, you know, that she's sort of in the same, you know, mindset as his dad. She just doesn't interrupt him to say it.
Yeah. And from what Julian says, like Julian's memory of it seems to suggest that they went to the genetic engineering solution pretty quickly once it became clear that he had some kind of learning disability and was not going to be able to keep up with his class. You know, like whether it was his dad or his mom or a mutual decision, like they decided, okay, we're going to quote unquote fix him, before they had tried like different methods of education or, you know, any other sort of more typical ways of accommodating a learning disability. I mean, because like Julian says in that scene, I was 6. You know, like I was 6, and you said better resequence his DNA. He's never going to grow out of this. You know, so it does seem a little, you know, it's hard not to side with him on that. You know, so.
Yeah, 255 and 8. Yeah, I can definitely see that her perspective is, you know, she wanted to help him, but you could say the same thing for the dad. Oh, he wanted to help his son. Yeah, like that's the justification. That's exactly what we're saying. It's not a consideration out of, you know, what he wanted or, you know, anything like that. So, you know,
Yeah.
the admiral said something that I have no idea if they explored this in, I guess, the movie or the original series, maybe, I don't know, about what do they call him? I mean, the full name is what? Khan Noonien Singh, right?
Khan Noonien Singh, yeah.
But they don't say the whole thing.
They just call him Khan. He's usually just referred to as Khan. Yeah.
Okay. So so he says that, you know, that his cunning and his ambition and his, you know, thirst for power was all enhanced along with, you know, his other psychological traits. And I'm just like, but I mean, I don't know, maybe they established that in the other stories, but it's not necessarily, it wouldn't necessarily have to be the case if you have like the same level of ambition and then you have like a higher level of intelligence and, you know, strength and things like that. Those your abilities are enhanced. Then even with a level of ambition that falls within normal human levels, you can do more about it. You know what I mean? So anyway, they
don't go into a lot
of. I guess what I'm wondering if I'm not really curious about, but I was like, I wonder if they actually mentioned that in the original story.
They don't go into a lot of detail, but it is strongly implied that Khan's intelligence was a result of his genetic engineering.
Right, his intelligence, but his ambition is not necessarily. I mean, it could have just been his intelligence that was enhanced, and because he had greater intelligence, he was more able to enact his ambition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Khan's characterization isn't really. There's not a lot of depth to it. You know, he's basically like a really, really well done cartoon villain is who Khan is. And he's a great character, but there's not a lot of depth to him. And yeah, it's implied that like, because he views himself as superior. He's more, he should be the one who leads. He should be the one that everybody else takes orders from because he's superior physically and mentally, and therefore he should be in charge. And maybe he would have been like that anyway, or maybe that was a result of his genetic enhancement, or maybe his ego intermingled with his enhancement in a really toxic way, and he kind of decided I should be the one to run things. But that's what happened with Khan.
Yeah. I mean, because I just, the H.B. Haggis says the way they put it was superior ability breeds superior ambition. I'm going to say that's not true.
Well, in the case of the eugenics wars, it was in Star Trek anyway, because it wasn't just Khan. It was a whole bunch of other genetically engineered people that basically took over the world. And that's the in-story explanation for why Starfleet bans genetic engineering. And
I guess that's necessary to explain, to explain why they don't have it, why they're not just genetically enhancing everybody, just whenever you feel like it. But yeah, it's not true. It's just not. It's demonstrably false. Given the way that we measure intelligence, there are plenty of hyper intelligent people, and in fact, people who are at the really high end of the IQ spectrum don't tend to go into things like politics and medicine and research and things like that. No, they tend to get pretty mundane jobs. Because why? Because ambition is completely separate from that. And especially if you have that high level of intelligence, you can also you can reason out the problems that come as a result of having high levels of ambition, not just the problems that you cause for other people, but like the level of stress that it causes you when you enact that ambition, and also the way it ruins your relationships. You become unable to have a connection with other people, and you lack community. And those are things that are important for personal health, for living a good life. And so like your really intelligent people will reject that. So I mean, I don't know any names, but I know I've read some studies that say, you know, why does this really super smart person have this, you know, sort of random job off almost in the middle of nowhere? It's because they're really super smart, and they're like saying, yeah, I'm not going to do that thing. I'm taking a step back because that's actually the better choice. I can take care of my needs, and I don't have to deal with all the, you know, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
It's a healthier choice.
I know that some Star Trek fans don't like the fact that the Federation and Starfleet have like a ban on genetic engineering, because they say that it's inconsistent with their enlightened, you know, society. But that's exactly what I like about it, because it shows that they have a blind spot, and that makes them a better fit as an analogy for us, because that's what they are. And, you know, we can, because here, specifically in the United States, we love to pat ourselves on the back for all the progress we've made. And it's hard to convince us about all the progress we still need to do.
I'll take your word for that.
And well, I mean, as a group, right?
Yes.
And the Federation is the same way. And the genetic engineering thing is the most sort of visible example of that. It's been the subject of 2 episodes. I mean, Khan was in, there was the original episode, the original series episode that Khan was in. And then of course, Khan is also the villain of Star Trek 2, but neither one of those are about the fact that he's genetic. Like it doesn't interrogate the moral question of whether or not it's okay to genetically engineer people. But this episode we just watched, and also a really, really good episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds from its most recent season, were about sort of the injustice.
Is it Ad Astra per Aspera?
Ad Astra per Aspera, yeah. It's about the injustice of the genetic engineering ban and how it's unfair to the people who, you know, and that's the point of both episodes, is that this is wrong. Starfleet and the Federation should not punish people for being genetically engineered. Like they should not be banned as a blanket group because of something that some people did at this point hundreds of years ago. So it exists in the fiction as a thing that is wrong with the Federation, that allows the creators to tell stories about that, and about, you know, what happens when an otherwise ideal society fails to measure up in a pretty significant way, you know? So I would hate for them to do an episode where they're like, oh, the Federation got rid of that. They saw the error of their ways. Everything's great now. You know, like that's not the point of it.
I like one of the things that Caitlin says, that, you know, the people breeding Khan and raising him would have had, you know, messed up priorities. And I think that's key, that it's not just the, you know, genetic modifications. It's also, these are also the people that, you know, nurtured him, and that factors into it as well. You know, these are the people he's around during his, you know, infancy and childhood, and that has effects as well. I mean, like 2 ways that in ways that we do not fully understand, our experiences will literally reshape our biology. It's absolutely fascinating. We become in response to our environment. It's really cool. Yeah. Nurture is nature.
It even changes your brain.
Yes, I mean, literally.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and not just the brain, but also like, you know, other development in the body. So it's really interesting. And we're, you know, there's so little we know about it, and we're learning more and more. It's really cool. So can we do the thingy, Bob?
I was just going to say, you want to play Not Wordle?
Yes. It's been so long.
I know. And I think we skipped it the last time, didn't we?
For the last 2 weeks, like when I was still in rehearsal, I was like, I can't do it. Like, yes, let's do the thing.
All right, we're gonna play. This is, as Dana said, this is not Wordle. This is what you're looking at right now. It's called Wordmaster. It's store brand Wordle. It's generic.
But it does not support the New York Times.
That's right. The New York Times that is not
The New
doing us
York
any
Times
favors
can
in this.
suck it. The New York
Not-
Times can get better at being having journalistic integrity. I'm just
How about that? Can we,
Yeah.
try that. But anyway, so Dana is not actually seeing this. Dana's only going by my description of it, but she will take the lead as far as what guesses we make. And of course, please feel free to play along as well. If you have any suggestions or guesses, go ahead and throw them in the chat and we will play as a group and hopefully we will solve this bad boy. So, Dana, shall we begin?
Yes, let's start with heart, as is typical for me.
Start with heart. Okay, heart gives us EAT, but all in the wrong place.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the chat because I find Vilcata's statement really interesting. If future society was built on accepting genetic enhancement from a storytelling viewpoint, it would be boring stories because everyone would be perfect people. Oh, no, because that's the story. Because everyone is not perfect people. Because genetic enhancement does not make a perfect person. But we would, the story would have to, or would have the opportunity to focus on in what ways, if somebody is amazingly smart and they've been developed into, the perfectly shaped face and the perfect, idealized figure, and their voice is mellifluous and, resonant. What does it mean to be perfect, and how does that affect us? I mean, it's like the beginning of The Princess Bride, where it's like the fourth iteration of the most beautiful woman in the world is told by one of her suitors that, wow, you're perfect. And she looks herself over in the mirror and she concludes that she is perfect. She's like, I am so lucky. I am probably the first perfect person that has ever existed in the entire history of the world. I'm so lucky to be rich so that I can, support this and take care of my, looks, and rich and beautiful and young, and well, of course, I'll always be rich. But I can't see how I'm always going to be young. And if I'm not young, how will I say beautiful? And if I'm not young and beautiful, how will I be perfect? And if I'm not perfect anymore, then what else is there? And like, there's a story there. So E, A, and T, all in the wrong place.
Yes, that's correct.
But no
E,
H.
A, and T, all in the wrong. No H, no R.
Okay, so like it can't be, okay, so the T is not, that's interesting. So I'm thinking it's T, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant. Or the T could be in the middle, would be good.
So
Y'all
it could
are
be
not being very helpful.
It could be T-A.
Tamed, taken.
Something. It could be tamed. It could be taken.
Uh-huh. So it's looking like AE. I say, well, we saw taken. I see taken first. So let's try that because EN and ED are both good ending letters.
Okay, so you want to try taken.
Yeah.
T-A-K-E-N. Let's try taken. No, it's not taken, but now the T, A, and E are all in the right place.
Okay.
So no K and no N, but T-A something E something.
Snakebit cat, we know it can't be Terry because there is an E in it. Okay, so, but I think there are going to be a lot of things. It's probably going to be ED. Does that make sense?
It could be tamed. It could be tamed. It could be taped.
Mm-hmm. So we need to hang on. So.
Tased.
Yeah.
Taxed. That's if it's ED. It may not be, but I think you're right. It's probably something ED.
No, it can't. Wait. It could be tails. No, yeah, it could be tails.
It could be tails, yeah, because we haven't tried an S yet.
Would go with lions. So, so we haven't used M, P, D, S.
Right.
Or Z or X, but let's not use those. PDS. So let's see if we can use something that has as many of those letters as possible, because otherwise we'll run out of iterations. Does that make sense? We'll run out of guesses if we just try it.
Yeah, sure.
There are too many in there. And then get the. So in Kirok, if anything, I would say since we're confident it's ED, let's do M, P, MP and S.
M, P, and S. So like mopes,
Swamp.
swamp.
That would work. Yeah.
Okay, let's try swamp and see if any of those are in there. Okay. There's an S.
Is that the only one?
But the A, but we know there's an A.
Right.
But there's no W,
So M is
no
not
M,
in
and
there,
no
and
P.
P is not in there.
No M, no P, but there is an S.
Shit.
So
Because this isn't Wordle. See, Wordle says you can't have like it won't do plurals. So like it couldn't be taxes, right? But this
Right.
isn't Wordle, so it could be taxes, or
it
it
could be
taxes,
taxes.
or it could be
Indeed. Well, yeah, but tases isn't necessarily plural. Tases could be present tense verb.
yes.
Yeah.
Tails.
Actually, so could taxes. He
Yeah,
taxes
that's what I'm
my
saying. But
patience,
I
yeah.
don't know if that I don't know because it's also a plural. I don't know if that would go for it. So tails, tails takes taxes, tases. And it could be tased because we never tried that D.
It's got to have an S.
TASED can also be tased.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go then.
So we need L, K. What about lakes? That gets us everything except for the X and the Z. How many guesses do we have left?
We have 3 guesses left.
Okay, let's go for. Wait. Do we know it has an S?
Yes, we know it
Okay,
has an S.
hang on. What about liked? That'll get the D instead of the S. That tries the D at the end. Try liked.
Okay. Liked.
Yeah.
Liked. Liked. Liked gives us nothing.
Okay, so we know there's no D. There's no D in it.
There's
and
no
so
D.
it's
There's
gonna
no
be
D at the
S.
end. So it's
So it's
this.
gonna
So
be yes.
the S is going to be the last letter. So it's TA something ES.
So let's try taxes. It sounds like it's got to be taxes.
Okay, let's try taxes.
Right, Kirak, we weren't looking for the K. We were looking for like the L, the D, and the S. Or the, yeah.
Okay. TAXES.
I think that's what we're going for. This was fun.
That's it.
Yes.
It's taxes.
Go team us.
Huzzah.
I missed this so much. Don't get me wrong. I love you guys, but it was worth it to take a break so that I could do that show. It was so much fun. Steve, I know you saw the little clip, I think, that I did.
Yes, of the one scene you did, yeah.
The one of the scenes. Has anyone ever seen such a display of temper? I had so much fun with that. So much fun. And then even like I told you I messed up the very beginning of the show when I screwed it up. Because I'm crossing the stage and my foot caught on a piece of the set and I just stumbled and I went, goodness gracious. And then I just went on and I got some chuckles and we just went on with the show. So yeah, that was fun. Celestia, yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? So, let's wrap this sucker up. Don't forget, everybody, on Friday, we'll be back here and I will not be on screen, but I'll be here in the chat. And Steve has Ask Away. So if you are a channel member or a patron, you can send in a question, which Steve will read out loud and then answer in the first part of the stream before he starts chit-chatting with us in the chat. And if you are not, you should be one if you can. And yeah, and if you're not, then you can just hang out with us in the chat. And then next week, of course, we'll be back here again. And we'll be watching Poirot, which is, what are we watching?
What are we watching? The Ariadne Oliver one?
Yes,
the first half, because we're in the double episodes, right? And this will be a double length episode. So we'll watch the first half of the first Ariadne Oliver episode. So we're skipping ahead a little because we have a plan.
Yes.
So next week we're watching the first half of Cards on the Table. So if you download the episodes from Internet Archive, go ahead and start the download now. So in a week it'll be done. And then after that,
wait, HB Haga, I don't think Alexander Siddig is in the Cards on the Table. I don't want you to be
I don't think he
disappointed.
is. No. But no, we're watching the first. So next week we're watching Poirot, first half of Cards on the Table. The week after that, we're watching Deep Space Nine again, and the episode is A Simple Investigation. The week after that, we're going to finish Cards on the Table, and then that Friday, we're doing a bonus watch along of an episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Because why not?
Because why not? I don't think we've picked an episode yet.
Yeah. We'll have to look through. We'll get that out figured. We'll get that out figured out at some point.
We should do the Magnum PI crossover. You can't really go wrong with Murder, She Wrote. It's such a fun show. But yeah, so that's the idea. That's why we're skipping a couple of Poirot episodes to watch an Ariadne Oliver appearance so we can tie it in with Jessica Fletcher and Murder, She Wrote. And then after that, we'll go back to where we left off with Poirot and go from there.
And such.
But yeah, that's the plan for the next month or so of the Wednesday of the Trek Reluctantly live streams. So yeah.
And don't forget to check out the description for links to various charitable organizations and other projects that Steve does, such as the Let Me Listen podcast that he does. He does late seating with our good friend Jason. And then we also, the three of us, and well, sometimes the three of us, and now one of our new friends, we do the Ensign blog, also with Jason and Ananda.
I think she pronounces it Ananda. Yeah.
Ananda. Okay. So, and our new co-star Ananda.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to meet her. Not this weekend,
but next weekend. Yeah, when we record the next show.
Y'all get to meet her, or y'all have met her, I guess, already.
If you're if you're a regular listener, you've heard her first episode already. Yeah.
So, and then, oh yes, and of course, charitylinks.page, where it's not so much a corporation or organization. We just have a list of links to various people who could use some support financially. So if you can provide financial support, helping people is good.
It sure is. And Kirok, no, that was not a joke. There is a Magnum PI Murder, She Wrote crossover episode. It's an episode of Murder, She Wrote, and it's great. Actually, I think I can't remember if it's both an episode of Magnum and an episode of Murder, She Wrote. Maybe it starts on Magnum and finishes on Murder, She Wrote. But yeah, there's definitely a Magnum Murder, She Wrote crossover. Absolutely. And it's awesome. How could it not be? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you Friday for Ask Away. Dana and I will see you next Wednesday for the first half of Cards on the Table.
Let's do it. Good night,
Bye,
everybody. Thanks for joining us.